Hi, everybody. We went and saw it.
Yeah. So, this is going to contain spoilers because I don't feel like holding anything back on this discussion. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet or you haven't read the book, go back and watch. Yeah.
Stop watching this right now.
Go back and watch this later after you've seen it or read it. Yeah. So 5 feet apart. It was amazing.
Yes, it was.
It was absolutely amazing.
I've never seen so many grown men cry or high school teenagers cry.
There was an absurd amount of high school teenagers.
Yes.
And like tweens.
Yeah. Most of it was people under probably 18.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah. I'm glad that children are completely into
Cole Sprouse.
And then this woke them up to cystic fibrosis. So,
yeah. I really did want to just be like, okay, who here learned something today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy that was sitting next to us, though.
Big, burly dude.
Yeah, very...
Looked like he was in a biker gang and everything.
Yeah.
Bawling his eyes
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we were trying to, like, figure out maybe if he had a kid with it that passed away, or, like, in general was just a parent of a child with it, or had a relative or something. We don't know. We didn't ask, but...
No. But, yeah, he definitely was, something hit him hard.
Yeah. He was having a really rough time with it. Worse than the person, like, sitting 2 seats over that actually has it.
Yeah.
Although I did fight back a lot of tears.
I definitely did, too. Yeah. When Poe died.
Yes.
That was pretty rough.
Yes. And his character in general, like, not wanting to be in a relationship or fall in love really hits home because this disease does make it feel like a burden to people. And then his big thing is he was about ready to turn 18 and he wasn't going to have health coverage anymore, and he didn't want... Yeah, he felt guilty.
Bringing somebody in that would have to take care of him and pay for his insurance and
his medical care in general and surgeries, and be there and watch him go through all these things. So I mean, that's definitely relatable. And I mean, I did definitely cry at the end, though.
Yes, you did. So did every single teenager that was there.
And that guy sitting next to us.
And the big burly dude sitting next to us. So, yeah. I think I was one of 3 people who didn't, even though I was holding it back. I kind of figured I knew what was going to happen, so I braced myself.
Well, you were also sitting there, like, the whole time, like, is this when it happens? Because I told you she was going to fall through the ice.
Well, I thought, for some reason, I thought it was Will, not her. So...
Yeah. We're playing fetch with the dog right now in the background.
From squeaking his ball toy. If we don't play with him, he'll just squeak it.
Or you could just take it away.
I got it. It's right here. Now he's going to be all upset because we took his squeaky ball.
Go get a different toy.
Yeah. But yeah, so...
For the people that are wondering about the CF aspect of the movie, it was very realistic. The sputum being spit out, that big loogie, that was a massive loogie. That did CF people proud right there.
Yeah, the port and the G-tube, they definitely had those pretty down pat, and the risk of G-tubes of infection, so bringing that to scope. Talking about
Besapacia.
Yeah, Besapacia. She doesn't have it, so I don't know what it is. But she mentions it all the time. But so having Besapacia and the risks associated with that and why it's so bad for people who don't have Besapacia and why it's important to keep your distance.
Also, it, takes away the opportunity for lung transplant and...
Yeah.
And, I mean, the ending... Will was realizing that he could have, like, she wanted to give up the opportunity for her lungs to be with him, and he knew that wasn't the right thing for her to do, because he knew that he was gonna die because he has it and there wasn't a way to fix it.
Right.
And so him sacrificing being with her and sacrificing his love for her so that she could live is really powerful.
Right.
What did you think as a spouse?
So having
put you on the spot now.
Yeah, I know. So seeing this and having gone to the hospital, understanding the regiment that they all go through, and then having listened to this one talk about it all the time, I feel like it made it feel more real. And like I said earlier in the pre-movie live video, I feel like this is a good way of getting the whole cystic fibrosis out there, because a lot of people don't know about it, and then trying to get them to donate to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation would be great, but they didn't put anything in it at all for the foundation, which I was amazed about.
Yeah, but we didn't stay through the end of the credits either.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the credits.
Probably not. I don't know. I like that they did do a dedication to Claire.
Definitely.
That was awesome.
With her picture, too.
Yep, with a drawing of her. And I love that Stella's character is
very much like
Claire, and Claire's personality towards her whole illness, and you were making comments through the whole thing that that's what you did.
Oh yeah,
all
the entire
time.
time I'm sitting here like, babe, that's you, nonstop, OCD. You gotta do these things, and if it's not the way you need it or want it, then it's wrong. So, yeah, it was definitely her. The only difference was the latex gloves versus non-latex gloves. So,
what was the other thing that you were saying was like me that she did? There was something else, her bossy attitude or something. I don't know how. I don't remember.
No, it wasn't her bossy attitude.
Oh my gosh, it was funny though. Yeah. Oh, the to-do list.
Oh yeah,
her to-do list.
Always got to-do lists.
Always have to-do lists. I'm always checking things off. It's like,
This is Boris once again.
Say hi, puppy.
He wants his toy that we have.
Yes, you can't have it.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? 2 people are watching right now. Antonia
late
and Nicholas.
It's also late at night right now.
I don't even know what time it is.
10:30.
Okay, yeah. Alright. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about the movie, now that we've seen it, and don't care about spoilers or any of that stuff, go ahead and ask us, or leave a comment, or even if it's not about the movie, you can always ask us about it as well.
Yeah. I mean, now that the movie's out, I'm sure that people that aren't associated with it are going to have more questions, which is great awareness too. But like, I was very impressed with how they did the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of the most accurate CF movies I've
It was
seen.
very well made.
It was very well put together. And like, I think the most overwhelming part of it for me was like people in the theater clapping at the end when it was over.
Right.
Like, it made that much of an impact on people.
5 Feet Apart is the name of the movie.
Yes, 5 Feet Apart. It's a movie about 2 teenagers that fall in love who have cystic fibrosis, which is the same lung disease that I have. And they know that they can't be together because people with CF aren't supposed to spend time together or be in the same vicinity because we carry bugs in our lungs that get trapped in our mucus. And we can make each other sicker by spending time together in close spaces. So we're not supposed to we're supposed to be 6 feet apart at all times. But in the movie, Stella takes back a foot because of her love for him.
Right.
And it's almost like her taking a stand against cystic fibrosis. And
She says that the disease steals so much from them, and she wanted to steal something back, and that was the 1 foot.
yes, she wanted to steal back something, which I think is beautiful in itself. And I mean, then they mentioned like Claire's quote there where she is talking about how she's been doing her treatments. I don't remember exactly how the line goes.
She wears her vest while hanging upside down. I remember
That has nothing to do with what I was just talking about. She's been doing her treatments to live instead of she's been living to do her treatments instead of doing her treatments to live.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Ron. Lots of people were crying.
A lot of people are
I
crying.
would say 90% of the theater were crying at multiple points during the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really emotional.
It was.
I mean, and it wasn't even on like a dramatical aspect of it. It's like
Surreal.
Yeah, it's very
surreal. I think this movie is actually better than A Fault in Our Stars.
I would agree with that. Like, and I'm not being biased because I have cystic fibrosis. I'm like, that's one of the truest statements right there.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot better than A Fault in Our Stars.
Not to downplay cancer or anything, but
No, not downplaying cancer at all. Like,
but
this
way
was
this filmed way better. They got way more into the details.
Yes. Yeah, there were a lot of, especially being in the CF community, there were a lot of little details that popped out all throughout the movie that was like, oh my God, they actually did this right.
Yeah.
Compared to, like, you watch an episode of Grey's Anatomy with a CF person on it, and it's like, oh, that's not right, and that's not right, and that's not right. You got the name of the disease right. Good for you.
Yeah.
Like, this was... The attention to detail was... I don't even have a word for it.
Very well done.
That's not one word.
Boris.
Boris. That's not one word.
It's the fan. Calm down. Dogs, they're crazy.
Yeah, the attention to detail that the director and the whole cast put into it was amazing.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I don't know. Does anybody that's watching right now have questions? Oh, hi. If anybody that's watching right now has questions, feel free to like comment or whatever. Emily sent me
Yeah. So if you haven't
a
gone,
message.
no, we saw it in Saratoga Springs downtown.
They don't have it in Rutland
Yeah.
yet.
If you do plan to go see it, definitely bring some tissues.
Yeah.
It is extremely well done, and I highly recommend going to see 5 Feet Apart because it's very truthful and realistic and brings awareness to cystic fibrosis.
Boris, stop. He's like, I feel so left out.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great movie.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if there was anything after the credits or not. I'm going to say probably not. I don't know because we didn't stay.
Right.
But, like, in the end of the book, you actually see them meeting at the airport, like, 8 months later or whatever.
Right.
I think I like how they ended it, but I also think they could have put that little extra
Right.
bit in there just to be like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, like, do they get together now or?
Right. Right.
Because, I mean, at the end, they just leave it, like, he walks away, and that's just tragic at the end.
Well, you have to have tragedy in every story.
True. But, I mean, I think about it, too. Hi, puppy. Yeah, I know what he's trying to do.
I know, he's trying to get that ball. Sit back.
I can't
There we
sit
go.
back because then nobody can see me. I think there's already so much tragedy in this illness, though,
Right.
that like they could have put that little bit of hope. Could have put that fish line of hope out there.
Right.
But what did you think of Poe's death?
So Poe's death was definitely the hardest part for me.
Why? Because like that's something that you're gonna have to face with me
Right,
someday.
exactly. And death is always so sudden. You can never really prepare for it. Yeah, pretty much everybody cried.
Yeah, Rebecca. Everybody cried. I fought back a lot of tears during the movie because there were so many parts that just hit so close to home with me. But really, I ended up crying at the end. I read the book, so I knew what was coming. And I cried when I was reading the book at the end, so...
Yeah. Our theater was filled with
a lot of teenagers.
pretty much all teens, except for maybe 5 people. So, and they all cried.
Yeah.
All these young ladies wanted to see Cole Sprouse, and then they just ended up crying the whole movie, pretty much.
Boris, stop. You're being weird. Yeah, Rebecca, the whole theater was in tears through a lot of it. There was a group of how many girls in front of us?
9.
Eight or 9
Yeah.
that were passing box of tissues back and forth down the road to each other. It was sweet though.
Yeah, you were crying and chuckling at them at the same time.
Yeah, I was, because it wasn't even because I was crying at that point because of the movie. It was just because of their reactions
Right.
to it, I think. I forgot. I put napkins in my pocket and then forgot they were in there.
I'm like, hey, you put those napkins in your pocket. She's like, no, I forgot them. And then as I'm like putting her coat on her as we're about to leave, I realized there's the napkins in her pocket.
I totally forgot I put them in there. So I'm like wiping my tears on my shirt.
Oh, I said she's clumsy like you too, and she knocked
Oh,
over the
yeah.
glass. That's right. I remember
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, we were.
Sorry,
He was
sidetracked.
making. Yeah, there was a little bit of a sidetrack moment there, but Rebecca, we were talking earlier in the live video that he noticed so many different comparisons between me and Stella, and like her clumsiness and
OCD.
her OCD and her to-do lists, and see, I wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't that bad.
She meant to grab tissues from the car, and then we got on our way to the restaurant. She
was like, oh, I
grabbed
forgot. Oh, well.
and then she forgot she had them in her pocket. So
Yeah. No, I just grabbed napkins from the concession stand, but then I forgot they were in my pocket.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But going back to Poe's death, like,
yeah, it's just very surreal, with death being so short and unplanned. You never know when it will happen. And he seemed to be doing so well at the time.
yeah, I know, like, just, hours before that, they were all celebrating. Oh. Yeah, I mean, like, just hours before that, they were celebrating Will's birthday, his 18th birthday.
Yeah.
That to me, too, like, when they were talking about how special birthdays are. Like, birthdays have always been a huge deal for me,
Right.
because you don't know.
Right. You told me for your birthday, I always celebrate my birthday like it's my last one.
Yes.
Because it might be my last one.
Yes.
And I remember you saying that as soon as they said it as well. So
Yeah, I think that was one of, like, the first things I ever told you, like, right, like, near my birthday last year. I was like, you better do something big for my birthday, because I always make my birthday a huge deal.
right. Yeah, Poe definitely had some talent. Those roses out of the radishes.
Yeah.
Skateboarding. Except for every time I saw him on a skateboard in the movie, he either was falling down or the board was sliding out from underneath him. So I don't know if he was actually good at skateboarding or just pretending.
Yeah.
But talent definitely with cooking. Should have been more thoughtful about the blowing out the candle.
At least Will was thoughtful about it, though.
At least Will remembered.
But there was that moment of hesitation when, like, they put the pie down in front of him, and, like, the moment of hesitation from Will, like, this is my birthday, but I can't do this because then my friends can't eat it.
Right.
Like,
What worse?
yeah. But, like, I think they could have made, like, I'm not downplaying Stella's reaction to Poe's death, but there's so much more involved.
Yeah, I feel like after Poe's death, everything was rushed from that point on in the movie.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work up to Poe's death, and then just rushed from after that. Like, they were like, we got to squeeze everything in to this short period of time.
Well, even in the book, the book was written after the movie was already in production, so I can't really say much in that, but the getting over, I can't really say that Stella got over Poe's death, but it was almost like she did. It was like, okay, I destroyed my hospital room, and now I'm gonna go see some Christmas lights.
Right.
Like, there's so many more emotions involved in that.
Different people deal with death in different ways.
True.
Some people can be straightforward. Some people take time, and some people, they have their moment and then they try to move on.
True, but I also feel like as a person with CF that's lost somebody that was super, super close to me, that I had such a great bond with, like, the emotions that I felt when she passed away was, like, my world was crashing down. Like, and I had my moment of, like, upset and tears and breaking down, and I had my moment of anger. And then I also felt like the survivor's guilt. Like I had that survivor's guilt. Like,
right.
why did she have to die and I'm still here and I'm so healthy? And I mean, we were, you know, really close in age and everything. Like,
right.
Yeah, I get that, Rebecca. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, seeing. Was it on her list? I don't remember if I don't remember seeing it on her list of things, but then again, she had multiple pages of her list.
Yeah.
So
I know it was something that they wanted to do. Like her and her sister had always wanted to
her
see
and
them.
Abby wanted to do it.
And I get that too. Like, you know, she fought for so long after Abby died. Like, she stuck to her regimen and she, you know, was on top of everything because she was the one that was supposed to die.
Right.
And then it was all of a sudden, like, Abby, the healthy one, like, is dead in an instant.
Right.
And she had survivor's guilt from that. But then, like, her falling in love for the first time, you could see, even just, like, through that short span of the movie, her whole, like, perspective changing.
Right.
Like, it started with her, like, getting on Will's case about, like, doing everything and, like, sneaking into his room to set up his med cart and all that OCD planning and
Right.
to slowly changing her mind and you know, started with taking back that 1 foot. And then it was, I'm just gonna leave the hospital and do what I want. Right. And then she gets the call that she has lungs coming and she doesn't want them anymore.
Right.
She wants to be able to live her life the way she wants to live it at that point, and she wants to live it with him, be it as long or as little as she has left.
Right.
Yeah, the pool scene was really good. I was really impressed with all their scars and there was a little bit of a movie goof that I noticed though.
Yeah.
When they were walking to the pool, Will still had his Metaport needle in his chest, and then when they got to the pool and he took his shirt off, he just had a Band-Aid.
Right. With no bulge at all for the port.
Right. But also, that is accurate though. Like, you can't go in the water with your Medport
Right.
in. So, I mean, like, they should have fixed it a little bit sooner and not had, because hers already just had a Band-Aid on and no needle in. But he still had, you could see the needle with the Tegaderm film.
Right.
Until they got to the pool and he took his shirt off. She didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
The things CFers notice.
Yeah.
I even said that in the theater too. I was like, they did a little goof there.
So, nurses wearing masks. Yeah, I'll let you handle that.
Nurses, in most situations, don't need to wear masks unless they are sick.
But it's based on the clinic you're going to or the hospital you're actually at.
Correct. A lot of, each hospital varies on their contact precaution rules. The standard contact precautions are gown, mask, and gloves. But a lot of places don't require you to wear a mask unless you have like an illness of some kind, a cold or a scratchy throat, runny nose. And then they tell you to. The one thing that about masks that I did notice is the characters were all wearing VOG masks, which according to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation are not
as
safe.
good. Right.
They're not safe. And clinics don't want us wearing them because they're not safe.
Yeah.
But a lot of us still choose to wear them because it's almost a little bit of that thing, like we're taking something back.
Right.
We're taking back something. If we want to look cool when we're in the hospital, as long as we are, we're going to look cool.
Yeah.
End of story.
I will say, she decorated her room like a champ.
Yes. Well, I mean, Stella, when you're inpatient as often as like Stella's character or a lot of other CF patients are, their room is like their home.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some patients at my hospital that I go to that bring their like 65-inch flat screens with them in their Xboxes. Yeah, it definitely, Rebecca, it definitely varies between hospital and hospital. Like my CF clinic, we're not allowed to wear VOG masks. The CF Foundation has deemed them not up to standards to prevent the kind of germs that CFers carry. And they're more, VOG masks are, from what the CF Foundation says, is they're more for dust, air pollution, things of that nature, not bacterias or germs. I still choose to wear VOG masks in the hospital. They can...
Except for she gets told every time not to.
Yeah, they can tell me don't wear them all they want, but it's really also patient choice. I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, yeah, I've watched a lot of Claire's videos over the years, and yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier on too that Stella's character is very loosely based around Claire, in not only the regards of like her YouTube videos and the way she decorates her room and things like that, but also her looks are very similar to Claire's. And the director Justin did a great job with that because he got to know Claire on a very personal level, and I think that she would have been very proud of what he did with it.
I agree.
And we were, yes, yeah. We were talking in our pre-movie live video about, how the cast all got to sit down with different CF patients and talk about all the ins and outs of the disease. And they got to learn, like, the daily regimen and the terminology involved, and the cast even talked to the different patients about like the mentality of it and how it affects their mental health and like their like the day-to-day of life with CF and how it's not only a physical thing but a mental thing, which I thought was great because it was able to give the actors more clarity into how to portray what they were looking to portray.
Right.
I did not know that. That's actually really cool that you mentioned that, Rebecca. That's pretty neat. I like that.
Who's Justin?
He's the director
of
the film.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm still learning things, so.
Hi, Quentin. What do you have?
Yeah, so I found that very strange that they didn't show any respiratory therapist at all. So all in my time spending, or in the time that I spend with her while she's in the hospital, there is, well, except for this last time, usually always an RA in there.
RT.
Respiratory therapist.
RT.
in there at least 4 times a day. Or checking in on her every now and then. But
yeah.
In the movie, I didn't see an RT at all.
No, and I think they did that way because
but then again, on their med
they
carts,
had the Aflo vests and everything, and they had all their breathing meds,
and they had all their breathing meds on their med carts. So
yes. And to answer your question, Rebecca, no, they don't leave med carts in patient rooms. No, and that doesn't happen. And the other thing that was a little bit out there was the relationship between the nurse and all the CF patients and like the HIPAA regulations there. There wasn't, I mean, it was kind of,
telling each patient about what bacteria the other patients
have and like what room patients are in, and
there's definitely
there's a little bit of a HIPAA violation there, but
it's Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. It was whatever.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it to a degree if you're there that often and you're making that many connections.
Right.
Because, I mean, a lot of us do live in the hospitals, but there has to be that cutoff between what you can tell patients and what you can't.
The other thing is, your hospital, I imagine there's a lot more younger people there. That's the way you've been explaining it to me. Not children, but people in their early 20s and things like that.
In regards to who? Nurses or patients?
CFers.
I don't really know a whole lot of the CFers that go to my hospital now. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It could happen knowing them for so long, but there also has to be that line of, where do you cut off giving too much information on another patient to a patient?
Right. Also, I always get yelled at for FaceTiming her. The whole no video photography.
Oh yeah, that was a new thing that I just found out about at my hospital. No one said anything to me the whole time I was there about FaceTiming with him while I was inpatient and there being people in my room. But apparently that's a big thing now. If I have an RT or a nurse or
You're just
a
not
doctor,
allowed to film any treatments.
Yeah.
So I can understand where that can come into play,
but also your family, and they also have to understand that we're away from our families for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, sometimes longer. We need to be able to have those connections with our families.
Right. But the thing is, they should speak up if they don't want it. And they didn't tell us this until the day we were leaving.
Till the day I was being discharged, that it wasn't allowed. And the reason I think that we're bringing that up right now is because Stella was videoing
everything,
her nurses, and everything that was going on. Yeah, Rebecca, they told me that we couldn't be on FaceTime while there were treatments of sorts going on or anything, which I thought was stupid.
Yes. But they have rights too, so.
True. But like you said, if they had been oh, I don't want to be on camera, could you end this call?
Right.
That would be one thing. Okay. But, I mean, 99% of the time I was on video with you, they were engaging with you just as much.
Yeah.
And they were talking to you and joking around with you and getting to know you while they were administering treatments.
Right.
So... It's the middle finger emoji.
Okay. I see it now.
Oh, man. You have anything else you want to add about
No,
it?
I don't have anything else.
We're going to go see it again.
Yep.
We're definitely going to go see it again and
5 feet apart.
5 feet apart. We're going to go see it next week
Yep.
in New York City.
5 feet apart. Yeah.
What?
She has CF friends.
Yes.
Shame.
Okay, let's just delve into that for a hot second. I think that as CF patients, we can make up our own minds on if we want to spend time with other CF patients. If we carry the same bugs and there's no risk of, I mean, obviously there's always risk, but if the other person doesn't have anything really dangerous like Pispacia or MRSA, like I don't see any harm in us spending time together and taking something back.
Right.
Because this disease is super isolating and it is, I don't know the word I'm looking for, aside from isolating.
Maybe there's no other word.
Maybe there isn't. It is isolating, though. And we build these friendships online, and we have this gigantic community. But just because the CF Foundation tells us we're supposed to be 6 feet apart, people follow that.
Right.
Which isn't necessarily right.
Right. So, I think one of the better lines is CFers are pretty much a doctor by age 12.
Uh-huh.
Which I have come to learn that she knows way more medical stuff than I will ever know.
True.
And I knew a lot coming into this, and I'm still learning way more from her, and I'll probably never end. But
we need to go to California.
oh my gosh, California! I can't do it. Can't do California. Sorry. I could have gone to San Diego, but no, I'm good.
Yeah, so next week I will be in New York City where one of my best friends in the world lives. She's going to be one of my bridesmaids in my wedding in December. And we're going to go see this again with her when we're there next week in New York City. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
And it sounded from her text message like she was really excited about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a choice that we as individuals with CF can make. Look, she's near San Diego.
I know, but California is also really expensive. I understand the Navy pays me way more if I go there, but it's not the type of submarine that I want to be on. So I would be deployed for much longer periods if I went to San Diego compared to Georgia.
And I don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to miss out on our lives.
Yeah.
So 3 months out, 5 months in is much better than 12 to 15 months out.
Yeah. F that.
Pretty much.
No thanks. We could always take a trip to San Diego, though.
Right. I have lots of friends that are stationed out there.
We could always take a trip there.
The other thing I heard is driving sucks there, and riding a motorcycle is nice because you can split lanes and just pass all the traffic on a motorcycle. So that would be very nice. But Well,
Yes, I
Yeah.
saw. Marine. Got it. Yeah. I think we as individuals with CF can make the decisions within ourselves if we want to spend time with other people with the disease or not. And if you choose to spend time with another person with CF, just know what you're getting into beforehand.
right.
You know, ask what bugs they culture, and you know, if you still want to spend time with that person and they have something that is more dangerous, take those precautions.
Right.
You know, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart. One of my good friends that passed away a few years ago now, I went and saw him in the hospital right after Christmas, and he had MRSA, and I gowned and gloved and wore a mask, and he wore a mask, and you know, it was super great to be able to see him just for that short little bit of time we were there, because a few weeks later he passed away. You know, and that's the sad part about it. And you know, we took those precautions, and I don't have MRSA, never caught it. If you're safe about what you're doing when you spend time with CF people, then you aren't at any risk, I feel.
Do you want to call it a night?
Do you want to call it a night?
Yes, I'm tired.
Yeah.
So like we said earlier, if anybody else has comments or questions, you can post them on the video once it's on her page. So she'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Or you're tagged.
Yeah, I will answer questions too, but she's on her Facebook more than I am, so. Also, if you're up in the Vermont area, the walk.
The CF Walk
Yeah, the CF walk.
is in Rutland, Vermont on May 18th.
Yep. We will not have a team, but we'll be supporting somebody else's team. Also, when's the Stampede?
The last weekend in July.
It's a 3-day Stampede, which last year they finally raised enough to donate over $1 million.
Not quite.
I thought it was $1 million.
No.
Oh.
They're
Not in 1 year. I'm talking about like, the whole time.
That was years ago already.
Oh, okay, never mind.
That was a
All right.
few years ago. They
They've
hit
done-
their $1 million mark.
So they've donated over $1 million to the CF Foundation. So
Yes, but the 3-day Stampede is a 3-day long fundraiser in Bristol, Vermont, the last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of July every year. And it's incredible. On Sunday, the last day, they do a 5K. And, that's so nice. Mary is amazing. I love her.
I don't know who Mary.
I showed you some of their videos. Her and her husband,
Oh,
they have the dog.
Fry Guys.
Yeah,
yeah.
the Fry Life. Yeah,
Yeah, Fry Life.
yes. But the 3-day Stampede is amazing. It's a great fundraiser. It was started by grandparents after their granddaughter was diagnosed as a baby, and it's in its, I think it's going into its 25th year this
Been
year.
going for
I think.
a long, long time. It's a giant yard sale, pretty much.
Yeah, they have dozens of tents of yard sale. Everything is completely donated, and hi Kylie.
Hi, Kylie.
Everything is donated by people around the state, and every dollar that they make during the 3-day Stampede goes to the CF Foundation, and they do these tents of yard sales. They do a silent auction. They do a bake sale and a barbecue. They also have the radio station come down to broadcast during the event. It's
a big event.
It's a big event, and it's...
Last year they had 10 tractor trailers of donated stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff.
Everything is completely donated, and every dollar they make goes to the CF Foundation, which is amazing. It's super overwhelming when you first walk in there, though, just to see the outpouring of people for this event.
Yeah, there was
like
a lot of people. Like, the parking lot was completely full. I had to wait for a parking spot to open up.
Yeah. And it's 3 days long of that. It's amazing. But it was like, I walk into that feeling...
Yeah, everybody knew who she was that worked there.
Yeah, I've been going every year.
Yeah.
So it's been great. But I walk into that feeling like I did the last, like, as the movie was ending tonight. Like, seeing everybody there for us, supporting us.
Right.
Is amazing. It's amazing.
All right, so we're going to call it a night. I guess evening if you're in California.
Rebecca, no, I don't. I get PICC lines when I go in the hospital. I actually have a whole row of scars in my tattoo here where my PICC lines are. I'm not sick enough yet to need a port. Could I get one if I wanted one? Yes. I am just extremely stubborn and refuse to get one until I can't get a needle in my arm anymore. I'm incredibly stubborn.
Yes.
Because I also know that with Medports,
you have to do the flushes. And
you have to do flushes every month to make sure they're working properly. And there's always the risk of infection. With Medport, my friend Melissa has had, I believe, 6 or 7 of them now.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not even necessarily a permanent thing in you because it can get infected or it can stop working.
But she hasn't needed one, so...
That's true. I have not needed one yet.
They can still get that vein.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That ultrasound is real good.
Yeah. She also has been doing very well recently, health-wise, so
Yes.
I'm trying to keep it up. I don't know what it was, but something's working.
I'm a firm believer in if you're happy, you're healthy. And happiness makes you healthier. Firm believer in that.
I don't know what's making her happy, though.
Does Kylie have any other questions for us before we get off here for the night? The dog's buried under the blanket behind me.
He's looking for his ball, which is behind my back.
Oh, you took it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Rebecca, if Kylie does have any other questions, even after we get off here, just shoot me a message on Facebook, or I'd be happy to even video chat with the two of you sometime and answer any questions she has.
All right. Have a good night, Rebecca.
Night, guys.